UFC 306 took place last night at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and I'm here to go over every fight on the card, all the exciting moments, and some of the very boring moments toward the end of the card. But let's get started with the very first fight, one of the more boring ones of the night, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Arichi Lang. Rosas won by a 2-1 split decision. Very boring fight, honestly. Round one, Rosas came out and had a little bit of success on the feet, ended up getting a takedown pretty early in the round, and had back control, working for a choke most of the round. Wasn't successful, didn't really have anything too serious, no real submission attempts, just kind of rode the back for round one and took that round. Arichi Lang came back round two, had some decent shots on the feet, stuffed a few takedowns and stayed on the feet. Didn't have to worry about the takedowns in round two. I don't know. He got taken down round one, came out round two, stuffed him, came back round three. Rosas got the takedown again. Arichi Lang tried to Granby roll out of it and he ended up in guard. He just stayed he stayed on the bottom on his back, had absolutely no urgency getting up the entire time. They traded a couple of shots on the ground, nothing much, super boring, and Rosas finished the round on top and got the first and the third round, took the unanimous decision, and then called for the 50 for the Dana 50 G's, baby. I don't know who the fuck, and it exactly reminded me of Paddy Pimblett after the Jared Gordon fight too, because just delusional to even think that that's worth any kind of bonus for what you just did. But let's see, total strike numbers 98 to 80. I mean, yeah, and then just 7.5 minutes of control time, so which was pretty much the entire first and third round. So yeah, super boring fight, but at least that was one of the, and you know it makes sense now why they put it first in the fight, because they got you to watch based on the name, and they probably knew it was going to be a boring fight because they had a pretty good read on all of these fights on the card except for maybe the last two, but you can't really get around them. Anyway, next fight. Edgar Shayrez versus Joshua Van. Van got the unanimous decision as well, 2-1, similar to the last fight, but these guys did do quite a bit more. They were definitely going at it. Round one, Shayrez started off with some good kicks, and Van was showing his boxing. Van got caught pretty bad about halfway through, and the kicks really started to add up. Shayrez had some really good low kicks on him, was really starting to piece him up with that. Uh, they were mixing it up, and Sheamus actually dropped Van with about a minute left. It was a bit off balance, but it looked like he dropped him, so I'm assuming they're going to count that anyway. To the judges, I imagine that looked like a drop. So Sheamus, I think, took round one. Round two was much better. Van landed a nasty combo and hurt Sheamus standing and just kept coming forward. Sheamus, I don't know how he didn't go down, man. He must have eaten at this point anywhere between like 40 and 100 shots unanswered, and Van was just just not stopping. After all this barrage of shots ended, Sheamus throws a spinning back fist and wobbles Van. They went to the ground and Van ended up staying on top. I think Sheamus pulled like a guillotine at some point in here, but it wasn't very serious. Van definitely won the round, and he just unloaded on him for like 100 strikes, and then they went to the ground. But really good round. Round three, they started trading on the feet again. Van was just starting to get the better of him and eventually got Sheamus to the ground. Sheamus was trying to like roll for a leg. Van went for a heel hook. They were kind of in a 50-50 for a bit. And at one point, Van slammed Sheamus into the ground into guard. Sheamus tried setting up a triangle, and there wasn't really enough room for it. And Van ended up riding out the round on top in guard and pretty much won the fight on control in the third round. So he won the second and third. Yeah, Sheamus won round one, then Van took the second and third. Pretty good fight, definitely better than the first one. A lot more action. I mean, he landed 183 strikes. That's quite a bit more, and yeah, he pieced him up. So solid fight. Next, we have the first women's fight of the night: Yasmin Uregui versus Ketlin Souza. Uregui was a big favorite going into this, I believe, but I guess the odds makers just forgot that you always bet on the more masculine one, less feminine. We'll say less feminine. You always bet on the less feminine one, and that was true here too. First of all, we had to stop for not one, but two. We'll call it cup shots, but I guess they don't. I guess they don't wear cups. I was under the impression they wore something. I mean, I don't know. I just figured they didn't want anything get getting in there. I don't know. We'll just move on. We had to stop for two cup shots, one for each of them. They're I don't even anyway. After the 2 cup shots, Uregui got dropped real bad by a hook, and Souza just jumped right on her and fucking snatched up a choke on her. Choked her really bad and just left her out cold. She was out cold for quite a bit. And yeah, that was a quick one. 3 minutes in. More entertaining, you know what I mean? Good finish. Pretty good fight. Other than the stoppages for the the low blows, but solid fight. And this was the first fight that kind of kicked off a trend of some really good fights as you're going to see coming forward. So moving on to Manuel Torres, Ignacio Bahamondes, another first round stoppage. Bahamondes caught Torres so bad coming in with a right hand. I don't know how Torres stayed alive. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. These next couple of fights actually do kind of show some Mexican fighting spirit, as corny as that sounds, but it really does because these guys are coming forward, just getting their ass beat, and just keep coming. Um, Bahamondes dropped Torres, and he got close to finishing him on the ground. Bahamondes took control and worked back, and Torres ended up working back up. And as soon as he gets back up, he's just coming forward, just swinging and swing, and just gets caught again. Just a straight right, just gets dropped so bad again, and gets TKO'd after that. I believe. I don't even know if he had follow up shots, but yeah, dude, just begging to get punched in the face. I don't even understand it, but good fight nonetheless. Fun to watch. Good win for Bahamondes, and he was maybe a slight favorite, slight underdog. That was a toss-up fight, but pretty dominant win. Next fight was even a more dominant win. Norma Jamont versus Irene Aldana. Jesus, yeah, she's just covered in red because she was covered in blood after they had a head clash. I think in the second round. Um, yeah, Demont. I mean, Jamont really just had she had better striking, more mixed up striking. She was mixing in a lot more kicks, a lot more different combinations than just the standard boxing of Aldana, and just out volumed her for 3 rounds. Just more consistency, more volume, better strikes. Aldana definitely had a little bit more power, but it just didn't matter. It was not enough volume to even make it matter at all. So and she just Aldana showed way more damage. Obviously, I think the gash on her head was from a head clash, but her face was just beat the fuck up. Other than that, anyway. So really good win for Jamont. I don't know what Aldana's ranked. She has to be pretty high, maybe fifth. So I know Jamont's calling for a title shot. I mean, it'd be more exciting than whatever the fuck's going on right now, bantamweight. So whatever, good win for her. 12-2 now. That's pretty impressive. And yeah, another really good fight. Moving on to the main card opener, Ronaldo Rodriguez and Ode Osborne. This one was one of those classic situations where they have a lot of talk and then come out and do fucking nothing. It was very similar to like Makayev and Cap, where they're oh god, that just pisses me off to think about Makayev and Cap. I mean, they literally had to be held back before the fight. When they were in the cage, they were being held back and they did nothing. Anyway, this was very similar to that. Round one, Ode came out and caught Ronaldo Rodriguez quick. Caught him bad, dropped him, and he was kind of fucking on his back, looking stunned. Again, the fucking fighting spirit, man. He did survive and came back, but Ode clearly took round one. Round two, Rodriguez got Osborne down and rode him for a bit, landed some strikes, and was trying some subs. They scrambled a bit. Rodriguez came out on top, and I think Ode reversed with like 30 seconds left, maybe. I'd say probably 1-1 after that. It was pretty nothing going on. Round three, a whole lot of nothing too. Ode took down Rodriguez. They scrambled, and Osborne ended up pulling guard. It was just a whole lot of fucking nothing, man. Round three was probably Ode, in my opinion, watching it live, but they gave it to Ronaldo Rodriguez for a robbery. I don't know, man. I don't. Doesn't even matter. They gave Rodriguez all 3 rounds on 2 of the cards, which just makes no sense to me. So I think we know what's going on there. They don't really give a fuck, but I don't even want to. This is a boring as fuck fight. Anyway, let's get on to some better fights. The best fight on the card by far: Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovich. Wow. Wow, what a fucking battle. Again, dude, the fighting spirit, man. Zellhuber got caught real bad and was hurt quite a few times in this fight, man, but just kept coming forward, kept getting himself enough time to recover. A minute into round three, Zellhuber landed a massive elbow on Ribovich, dropped him. They were trading some good shots, but Zellhuber just kept he was doing this the whole time, doing this one where his fingers are in the face the whole time and ended up eye poking him like a dozen times. But Yeah, Ribovich hurt him again in the third, wobbled him bad. The third round, they were going so hard at each other, and Ribovich was beating the shit out of Zellhuber, and yeah, they were just teeing off at each other, and it was constant. I don't even think either of them. Zellhuber did shoot one panic takedown, but they were just sitting there trading. I mean, they both threw over 300 strikes, and you can see from the graph. I mean, they were both beat up, but Ribovich ended up getting the split decision. I think rightfully so. I don't even think it should have been split. I thought that was pretty clear. Um, yeah, dude, what a fight! If you didn't see that fight, definitely go back and watch that one. Find some way to watch it because that was a really that was an absolute battle for 3 rounds. I thought it was pretty clear Ribovich won, but holy shit, man, what a fight! Next fight, another great fight: Brian Ortega and Diego Lopez. Uh, Lopez came out on top, unanimous decision, as most people probably expected, but he definitely made it a lot harder for himself than he needed to. He came out quick as expected and dropped Ortega within the first 30 seconds. He was on the ground with a big cut over his eye. Lopez got his back, was landing some shots, and Ortega got back up with about 3 minutes left, and they traded for the rest of the round. Lopez might have had. I was thinking maybe 10-8 there. Did they get? They did give him one 10-8, so that was definitely it was a possible 10-8 round that first round. I thought maybe. Um, I don't mind it either way, but he definitely won the first round. Round two, they were just trading on the feet the whole time. Lopez pace definitely slowed down a bit, but he still landed plenty of meaningful damage and a nice head kick. Built up on some leg kicks from round one, and Ortega's legs were pretty fucking chewed up. I mean, you can see 18 out of the 19 leg kicks here, as opposed to 7 for 7. I mean, he was chewing up his leg. He had a massive gash, I think, on his left shin, and you could tell it was starting to bother him. Round three, Ortega started to come forward more in the beginning of the round, had some success, but towards the end of the round, I guess Diego probably just gave himself a minute or two off. Diego really started to put some volume back on him and ended up hurting Ortega and getting him on the ground, but he just didn't have enough time to finish him. He landed a massive hook earlier in the round that really messed up Ortega's eye, and he thought it was an eye poke, but both of Ortega's eyes were destroyed just like Aldana, man. But it was a really good fight all the way through. Clear victory for Lopez and really cemented him as one of the top contenders in the division. He was calling for the title shot after. Dana said in his post-fight press conference that he wasn't so happy that Ortega was like screaming in his face about his title shot. And he's usually much nicer to him, but yeah, I mean now's the time. Ortega was ranked number 3 and has kind of been gatekeeping that spot. So moving on to the snooze fest of the evening. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, dude. You know, especially this late at night, man, you struggle to stay awake. 25 minutes of just ground control by Shevchenko, almost no strike. I don't know where they're even getting 153 to 193 strikes. I didn't see that. I don't know, maybe just little tappy little. It was pretty much just Shevchenko riding Grasso on the ground for 5 rounds. There was nothing meaningful in the feed at any point, really. Um, yeah. Grasso had some sub attempts. Gave her credit for 2 here. She did come close sometimes, but it was never really much of a threat. That's really all she could do because she was just getting taken down as soon as the round started and was on her back. So she was, to her credit, trying to throw up quite a few subs off her back, and she was close at points, but it was never much. And I mean, you can see on the scorecards it was 50-45 the entire way. So it was literally just 5 rounds of ground control and a couple sub attempts sprinkled in there. We don't really need to go over that anymore. Shevchenko went 8 for 12 in takedowns, obviously won. And I don't know where we go from here in women's flyweight, but yeah, not exciting. Not exciting. I mean, if she can do that, she'll probably be able to do that to anybody realistically if she really wanted to. So yeah, big surprise that she went to the wrestling and just crushed it. And whatever. On to the main snooze fest of the evening: Sean O'Malley versus Marab, the crotch sniffer Dvalishvili. Wow. Again, just really sucked the life out of the room, man. I'm not sure how the scorecards are even this close. I thought it was like pretty clear. I thought it was pretty clear, like 5-0, honestly, maybe. I don't know where O'Malley got 2 rounds. Maybe it was like round 3, maybe. He did cut Marab's eye open at one point. He did some damage, but man, he just was not. I mean, dude, 49 at a 91. To his credit, Marab is like moving around like an absolute spastic, man. Like I don't know how you're supposed to track that down, but this is where we're at with the top of the division now. I mean, here we go. He had 6 for 15 takedowns, kind of decent. I mean, O'Malley stuffed quite a few of them, obviously, but still not enough. 10 minutes of control time, and when they were on the feet, he was just not doing enough, man. I get you retired from the wrestling, and I think he was just very hesitant to even do anything on the feet because he just thought he was just going to get taken down right again. But that's the risk we have to take, man. He maybe landed like one knee up the middle, didn't try very many of them, and just didn't look like he wanted it, man. He did not look like the better fighter on the night, and Marab did deserve it, as boring as fuck as it was, and as boring as it's going to. Oh, dude, if we have to sit through Marab versus Umar, fucking shooting at each other's legs for 5 rounds, man, like. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. He's incapable on the feet. I mean, he was throwing a lot more strikes, and he didn't. There's just nothing on it, man. There's nothing on it. O'Malley did maybe win round 5. He did hurt Marab to the body really bad in round 5, and Marab was hunching over, and that was with maybe a minute left, and O'Malley just kept trying to throw the same teep to the body, tried to throw some punches to the body to finish him, but at that point, man, it was too late. And even at that point, Marab was hurt with like 40 seconds left, and there was just no sense of urgency, man. Like, I get it, you're tired. You have 40 seconds left for the championship, brother. Like, go ahead. That's a shame. Very boring fight. The last two fights, they took like over an hour. It was like an hour between when the co-main event started and when the main event started, and then it was another 30 minutes of watching that. So it really just it was a lot of good fights tonight, man, and the last two just really sucked the fucking life out of the room. But overall, the Sphere part of it was pretty cool. They did a pretty decent job on television. The only thing I really didn't like was you could not hear the crowd at all. You could hear the corners like they were right next to you, but you couldn't hear the crowd, which usually it's the other way around. Usually you can barely hear the corners and you can hear the crowd more. I didn't like the fact that you couldn't hear the crowd at all unless they were just that quiet, which for the last two fights they probably were, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I hope it was worth it, I guess, for the UFC. I don't know. Maybe they made money. I know he said the gate was like over 20 million, and he said he paid maybe 20 million to do it, and then they got the sponsorships and all that. So they probably made money. They also said it was their biggest gate and their biggest merch night ever, or their biggest merch for an event or whatever. I don't know. Either that night at an event or for an event total, merch sales were the most ever. So they must have made a pretty good bit of money. It was fun. It was pretty cool. It was definitely different, but it's nothing to like freak out about. Nothing to pay $4,000 for a ticket to. So that's it. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe, and I'll be back this week to preview the next card and talk about UFC 309, I believe, in Madison Square Garden. So keep an eye out for that video. I'll be back soon. Peace.